Hello everybody and welcome to the debut edition of the DVDViolence video forum here on YouTube. Now what is the forum, you may be asking yourself? Well, the forum is a little monthly recap we like to do here at the DVDViolence video. Whether it's archivable footage we take a look back at, dating back to 2005, or we'd like to, take a look back at, last month and do a little recap of what we've done here. So on today's program, on the debut edition of the forum, we are looking at the Jimmy Lion Chondo Shoot Interview. We're going to take a few minutes to look at that, and then we're going to get into some words from Chondo himself about an upcoming cwf-pwa super show known as Divide and Conquer. Now, Divide and Conquer takes place January 22nd, 2022 at the Skid Row Academy in Westville, New Jersey. 8 p.m. bell time, and I believe the doors open at 7. Tickets are available in the link in the description. It's the pweezuproductions.com. You click on that link, it'll take you to the home page. You scroll down a little bit, you'll see a little margin, or whatever you want to call it, where you can, a little drop down menu that you can purchase your tickets. Tickets start at $15 and they range all the way up to $30 for a VIP experience. Now let's take a look back at our Chondo Shoot interview we conducted in September of this year. Alright, so how did you get into the business?
Got into the business. This sounds so weird. Like I said, this is my first shoot interview, and I've been wrestling like 10, almost 11 years, and I still think I'm a complete douche for doing a shoot interview because I don't think I'm that interesting. So if you're watching this and I'm not that interesting, I'm sorry, but you should have known better, to be honest. Hi everybody. People are walking down here right now. I'm just not that interesting. But I got started in wrestling. I actually kind of stutter-stepped my way into wrestling a little bit. I had a tryout at the CZW Wrestling Academy in about 2009, and I got blown up by DJ Hyde, which, I was there was a commercial that said, get off the couch and into the ring. What they failed to mention is that you should probably hit a gym somewhere between getting off the couch and into the ring. I did not do that. So I was in the worst shape possible. I got completely blown up. They said, okay, go down and do 20 push-ups. I'm struggling to do 20 push-ups. All of a sudden, some guy's like, hey, you need help? I look over at Zandig. Zandig is the guy who showed me how to do push-ups. So after I puked my way out of that, I was like, okay, maybe I don't want to do this. Then fast forward to 2011, and MLJ, who is, ring announcer and commentator extraordinaire, actually hooked me up with a school in Egg Harbor, New Jersey called the Force One Pro Wrestling Academy. And it was run by, I had a bunch of trainers. It was run by Sammy Callahan, Johnny Calzone, RV1, who was the best wrestler that you've never heard of, but he's really good. And I guess Joe Gacy was kind of running class, like his own class at the time, as Calzone had more real life responsibilities. So I kind of started there, and I knew I was going to throw. I was still in horrific shape because I still hadn't gone to a gym. And so I went down to the school the second Thursday of January 2011. And I gave my friend my phone, and I told him, leave the building. Don't let me quit. Don't let me do anything. So, okay. So he went out. He left. And from the start of my try out to the end of it, which is only like 2 hours long, I threw up 7 times, gaining the school's record. And I was glad that they said, okay, well, welcome to the school. It's like, okay. So, that's how I kind of got started. I kind of stutter-stepped and threw up my way into the business. So it was a good way to do it. Especially when you tell your friends, whatever you do, don't let me quit. So it's something that I'm glad I didn't quit, because a lot of people are like, man, I don't know the word quit. I know the word quit in several languages, so So I was glad I got to finally start doing that. So in 2011, like I said, there is, if you see every DVD from 2011 of Force One Pro Wrestling, you can seek them out. You will see me just sitting very awkwardly in a corner with my hair getting longer and longer and longer throughout the year, and just being a terrible security guard student paying my dues. So, yeah, that's how I got started.
Out of all your trainers, which one was probably the most influential to you?
See, I took different things from each person. Sammy a lot of times would come in before he had a show and like try out moves on us, and then get bored, and then someone else would take over the class. Not saying that Sammy was a bad trainer or anything like that, because they were all good trainers, but I think I'd have to say Joe Gacy was. RV1 taught me a bunch of lucha stuff and like got my basics down really good. Same thing with Calzone. But the person who I spent the most time in the ring with, I want to say, even past, the initial year, because the school closed down after like a year and a half, and I kept training with Gacy in his brother's garage. They had a pony ring set up for an additional like year and a half after that. So it'd probably be Joe, just because I was in there the most with him, and he was training me the most. But like I said, I took something from each one of them. Like Calzone taught me something very important my very first day, and Ricky, RV1, instilled it in me, and something that carries me to this day. It does not matter how good of a wrestler you are. If you are a piece of shit human being, that's all there is. Like you can be a great wrestler, and a lot of people will be like, "Oh, he's such a great wrestler," forget that he did this, or acts like this. Like, no, be a good person above all else. And it took me a while to learn that, but I learned it eventually. That's what matters most, and that's something like, especially in wrestling, you need to take, especially nowadays in wrestling, you need to take with you, because there's just a lot of things that, oh, well, that guy's a good wrestler, well, let's just forget, he does this and this and this. Always be a good person. That's rule number one I took with me. But as far as in-ring stuff, it was Joe Gacy and his brother Phil, actually, taught me the most kind of in-ring. So,
Right. So, like during your training, were you only allowed to wrestle for like one company, or were you allowed to travel a little bit?
Believe it or not, I did not have my first match until my training facility. The Force One was dead and gone. I started training the second weekend, or the second Thursday of January 2011, and I didn't have my first match until March 2012, until the end of March 2012. And that wasn't because, like, oh, I wasn't ready, I wasn't this, I wasn't that, and I was a little slower learner than most,
Right.
But it wasn't because, like, oh, he's not ready to go out and, get jobbed out, or, be a squash guy or whatever, have a first match. It was because, like I said, like, there was a lot going on that eventually led to the end of Force One. I was supposed to debut for them a bunch of times, and then eventually, then there was nowhere to go, and I wanted to have my first match, like, done right. So it wasn't just like, oh, I was going to contact, this random promotion out in there or there or there, like, I was going to have my first match with the people that trained me. So Joe actually opened up his own company called Sideshow Pro, and that's how I had my first match, and I was Johnny Concha Hawkin, just because I couldn't think of a name, so I just thought it was funny. I do a lot of stupid things just to amuse myself. And I got squashed by Tony Graves in about 45 seconds, and then I went to the back and was told everything I did wrong, because apparently I fucked up a lot. No, that was never a thing where, they would let me go to one place or another, because like I said, the school didn't last long enough for me to have that first match and to kind of do all that stuff. Like Force One kind of just collapsed in, is that the word? Yeah. In on itself. Yeah. So I never had to worry about that. And subsequently in my following years, I never had to worry about traveling too far from home, because I never got that successful. So eventually I did. But
What would you say, out of all the, your first year or so, what would you say would be your best match at this point?
well, they were all, especially in the first year, would be, like I said, I didn't have my first match until a year and 3-4 months after I started training. So, but I remember one time, we did training matches, and these are on film. Joe Gacy, I know you're in NXT now, but you have the footage, and I don't want to hear what you said. Oh, I deleted over. You did not delete over. You still have this footage. It was me and Calzone. We were supposed to have a regular one-on-one match. We would have these little student shows, but it would just be for us. The building would be completely empty. We have practice matches. And Calzone, I think, before we were calling the match, regular match, international spot, all that stuff. Okay, very basic. Then about 10 minutes before, Calzone got a phone call, and he was talking on his phone. And I could tell by his face, it's like, oh, this isn't good. I don't know what's up, but this isn't good. And it wasn't anything very bad, but it was something that bothered him that day. And it had nothing to do with wrestling. It just, something else with maybe his business or something. But he was like, okay, change of plans. We're going to have, you always want to have a hardcore match. Like, yes, we're going to have a hardcore match. Okay, why not? I'm 23, 24 at the time, because I didn't start wrestling until later. And I was all for it. Nobody's watching except for, the other students. So we do this match where we beat the ever-loving shit out of each other. And this isn't like a case where he, cornered me and it's like, oh God, I was like, yeah, let's go for it. We beat the shit out of each other. I'm bumping on the floor, taking back bumps on the floor. We do the necro, bar fight spot. We do all this. I'm taking all these stupid bumps, again, in front of nobody but the other trainers and like 2 or 3 of the other kids that are there. And this is on film somewhere. And in the end, I think he used a barbed wire 2x4 on me and got a pin or something like that. I forget the finish. But out of all my matches, since I didn't have any official matches, that was the earliest one I can remember where it's like, I like that, but it was never seen by anybody outside of the training camp. But yeah, that technically was my first hardcore match, because Calzone got a bad phone call before, and we just decided to beat the shit out of each other. And again, like, Calzone was like, he's a great guy, great trainer. This wasn't like an instance of him abusing me or anything. Like I said, I was 100% for it. So, and it's a match I wish I could watch today. And I know the footage exists, so somebody get a hold of Gacy down in Florida and hit him up.
Right.
I know he's got that. He's got a lot of that stuff. So.
Okay. With your beginning of your years, including the training days, describe the locker room towards you and, let's say, other students compared to today.
Honestly, a lot of, like, I have horrific anxiety, like, really. Like, nowadays it's not that bad to admit it, and everyone pretty much admits, yeah, I need a personal day for this, I have bad anxiety, and nowadays people say, okay, that's okay. 10 years ago, that was still a little like, wait, really? Like, just, kind of man up. And some people are still like that, but nowadays it's a lot more accepted. But me, like, straight up, I will tell you, ever since I was little, like 15, 16, I've had panic attacks and horrific anxiety. It's kind of gotten worse throughout the years. But the locker room at Force One, like, everybody there, super nice to the students. Everybody there, like, looking out for everybody. Calzone especially, like I said, like, he's one of my friends to this day, and that company hasn't been around for years, but I still text him every once in a while, and we just talk about anything but wrestling, but everyone was super, super nice. And I remember, like, getting into it, and some schools will make you bump on the concrete, to like, oh, well, I want to see if you really want to bump on the concrete. Not a lot of schools do that, but I've heard of some schools doing that. And I was expecting it to be like military school, going in, like, hey, do all these squats, you're a piece of shit, yada, yada. These guys are like the nicest guys in the world. Like, everyone always talks about their chop day. I didn't have a chop day it was like, you guys aren't going to do chops? I was like, no. Why would we do that? So one day before a show, I asked for, it's like, oh, wait, I want a chop day. Come on. It's like, okay, if you want it. And I had the entire locker room chop me. And they had people coming in from out of town. It was a show day, so it wasn't just the local people. It was people like Cedric Alexander and all that stuff. People that were like jacked. And I will say the hardest chop to that date that I got on that day was from Ophidian, who just, I don't know what is with the aerodynamics of his hand, but it just felt like he was just grabbing your heart every single time he hit you. So then there was a One Force One show, if you can seek it out, where I'm sitting in the corner and everybody that walks by, because my chest is beet red, and I asked for it. They didn't want to do it, and I asked for it. But my chest is like beet red. It's bleeding underneath my shirt, and everybody, when they walk by, they give me a pat on the chest because they know how badly it hurts because of the stupid thing I asked them to do. But if you, I think it's Tour de Force or something like that. But the locker room of Force One was really, really nice. Like I said, like it was kind of past the days of like, oh yeah, let's fuck up this kid, let's rib this kid, let's do all this stuff. Like the locker rooms of today are kind of the same. Like the H2O locker room is great. Like I know I can go there, and if I'm having a bad day, like look 2 feet to my right or 2 feet to my left, and there's someone that I can just talk about it with. I also intentionally try to distance myself. I mean, my level of talent also does that too. Distance myself from a lot of promotions, but like I will try to, like, if a situation or a locker room is bad or described as tense or carny or whatever, I'll just not. I can't. I just can't, like, mentally do it. So that's why, like I said, like I'm very happy sticking with where I'm at right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed that clip from the Chondo Shoot, the link to the DVD store is in the description box. Click on that link, look for the Chondo Shoot, and we will ship it out to you, possibly the same day as you order it. Now let's take a look back at some words that were sent to our offices from Chondo regarding the January 22nd cwf-pwa Super Show.
Hey, how's everyone doing out there? For those of you who don't know, I am the redneck king of the jungle himself, Jimmy Line, Chondo, whatever you want to call me, whatever people have called me throughout the almost 11 years I've been doing this professional wrestling thing. And I'm here in front of this camera and talking to you all out there right now to let you know that on January 22nd, 2022, I will be making my debut at the debut event of the CWF/PWA when they present Divide and Conquer at the Skid Row Professional Wrestling Academy. Now, when the promoters and owners of those respective companies hit me up, they hit me up with something I wasn't expecting. They asked me if I wanted to fight for their inaugural heavyweight title. And I said, sure. I don't get that opportunity to fight for heavyweight titles that often in this professional wrestling world. But I let them know that I wanted to earn it. Well, I'll get back to that in 2 seconds. You see, the next question I had was, who am I fighting against? And they didn't have an answer for me at the moment. And I said, before you pick somebody, let me handle this. See, it's a great honor to wrestle for any company's inaugural heavyweight title. And this is, like I said, something I don't get the opportunity to do very often, so I want to make it special. Open challenge. Anybody that wants to step up and fight me for the honor of being their heavyweight champion, go right ahead and do it. See, I'm ready to fight tooth and nail. But like I said before, I don't feel exactly comfortable jumping the line and getting that first title shot. So, you want it, you gotta earn it. Just like I'm doing. See, before you step up and say, oh, I want that title shot. I want a main event, the first ever CWF-PWA event. Make sure you're ready to earn it. Because yes, whoever wants it can step up and fight me for the heavyweight title. But they're going to have to put their body and their mind through absolute hell. Because that match in the main event against me will be a no-rope barbed wire match. You think you got what it takes? Step up and prove it. 'Cause I ain't backing down. I'm ready to fight.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as you've heard, it is an open challenge, no rope barbed wire match for the CWF-PWA Championship. Which, spoiler alert, if we move Taz out of the way, this is the belt that they're fighting for. It's going to be a bloody, bloody matchup. Now, let's go back into our archive footage from 2005, September 10th of that year. We are going to look back at a match from a flea market as Nikoli Volkoff and his tag team partner take on the Hat Guy and Yakushi in a lumberjack strap match.
It's all yours.
right, ladies and gentlemen, what incredible action you just saw featuring Nikoli Volkoff. May his soul rest in peace. Now, this is all for today's program. Next month, we will air some video footage from the IWA Vintage November 13th show that just took place a few weeks ago. We're going to take a look back at that show. We're going to give you some matches. We're going to give you some moments from that show. And we will see you next month for the next episode of The Forum here on the DVD Violence Video YouTube channel.